Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. Thank you for joining me. Back at you with a little bit of breaking news here from just a few hours ago. Joe Biden announced an executive order that will go into effect at midnight tonight, affecting our border security. In the end, it may actually be a good idea because it's something that I have found to be kind of weird in our immigration law to begin with. But as of midnight tonight, anybody that tries to seek asylum has to come through a legal port of entry. They cannot enter the country illegally in any way, shape, or form and still be available to have asylum. Now, that was a complaint that I've talked about in the past, where it literally is in our law that you can enter the country illegally and still seek asylum. I've always thought it would be great to be able to go to, that people should have to go to a port of entry. The problem I had during the Trump years is that they shut down certain ports of entry, making it harder for people to get to a port of entry. And if that's what starts happening under the Biden administration, then I will not support it. But as of now, I support the notion that if you enter the country illegally, that you shouldn't be able to just easily seek asylum. Because you should come across the border legally. Now, as of right now, what's not coming through is the fact that, they're not adding they're not opening new ports of entry. But from what I've seen of the Joe Biden administration, they will not be shutting down new areas, or, they won't be shutting down ports of entry as well. During the Trump years, if you recall, there would be times where people would be at the border waiting to come in legally, and then as they were trying to cross to the border crossing, the Trump administration would just randomly be like, okay, shut down the border. Literally playing, havoc with their lives, playing games with them, right? Now, what goes on with this as well is that this will continue. The executive order will remain in place, and these rules will remain in place until illegal border crossings come down to a range that the Border Patrol can actually handle. That's been part of the problem, is there's just too many people coming across and not enough people to handle them. And so that it's been kind of tough. Now, here's my thing. One of the big problems I have with the Trump administration was kids being left outside in cages. Many of them dying, many of them being separated from their families. And let's be clear, that's not what's happening here. This is actually part of what was the bipartisan bill that Donald Trump had killed earlier this year by the Republicans. It was according to the Border Patrol, it was the best Border Patrol bill, or best border bill, that they had seen in 25 years. So it went way back to how long it's been since the Border Patrol has been seeing legislation that they thought was meaningful and helpful. And Donald Trump, because he didn't want Joe Biden to get a win on it, told them, no, you got to kill it. But it was a good bill. It had a lot of good opportunity to, help the border security situation without completely closing the border. Now, the bill would have also seek to give the president authority to just completely shut down the border at any given time if certain thresholds were met, which I wasn't completely on board with, but that was part of the bipartisan bill. At the end of the day, when something is bipartisan, not both sides don't get everything they want. That's just how that goes. But the executive order bars migrants who cross the border illegally from seeking asylum, a departure from decades-long protocol. Once a daily threshold is met, unless individuals meet certain exemptions. These measures would be turned on and off, and would be lifted when there's a daily average fewer than 1,500 encounters a day between ports of entry. The move is an attempt to address one of Biden's most urgent political problems in his re-election push. It comes just weeks before the first debate between him and former President Donald Trump. It's the same authority Trump tried to use when he was in office. It's very similar. There's some very similar things here. But like I said, if Joe Biden's not, leaving kids stuck off in camps, separating them from their families, and they're not putting off in like little concentration camps like they had going on at the border for undocumented migrants or minors, and the minors that were being separated from their families. Remember, Donald Trump lost 1,500 children. To this day, there are still children that have not been that were not reunited with their families. The Trump administration made it to where these kids could be taken from their parents and adopted out. Right? Remember that, because that's exactly what was happening. That does not appear to be what's going on with this particular executive order. Now, if that becomes a problem, I will let you know. I will definitely be here letting you know and leveling my complaints at the Biden administration for such actions, because this is not that would not be legitimate in my opinion. But that's the breaking news for right now, that Joe Biden has issued an executive order that takes place tonight. It goes into effect at midnight tonight, and basically will limit the number of people that are able to seek asylum, and it'll end the ability, at least for the time being, for people to come across the border and seek asylum who have crossed the border illegally. So that's the rundown of what's going on right now today. That's a big bit of news. Later this week, I'll probably do a video over the Hunter Biden trial. I'm sure somebody out there is going to be like, well, you haven't said anything about it. Well, I just haven't got around to it, and they're not doing a whole lot right now. They're just doing the jury selection. But that is, of course, the Hunter Biden gun charges trial that he tried to get off. The people tried to cut him a deal. The judge didn't support the deal, so he's going to trial. And also, I'll do some discussion later this week over Bob Menendez, the senator out of New Jersey, the Democratic senator out of New Jersey, who is facing corruption charges and who is now talking about running as an independent. Anyways, thank you for watching the Big Ranch Show. Thank you for all the recent views lately. We've been doing a lot better here at the Big Ranch Show. We're looking at 80 to 70 to 80 views a video now, as opposed to 8 views a video. So thank you to everybody that's been watching. Thank you to all of my regulars that are watching, and I hope you all are having a great day. See you down the road.